5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Today I want to talk a little bit about digital delusion. And of course, if you studied Plato, you know that the material world is decaying. If you take a beach chair and sit it out on the beach for a couple of months, there won't be much left of it, right? Whereas timeless truths like 2 + 2 = 4, they'll endure no matter who buys into it, even if there's nobody around, right? So Western philosophy has sort of embraced this and said that the virtual world, the thought world, the digital world is more solid. The problem is, us human beings, we like touch, we like feel. We might think we can disconnect from this, but then we're a ghost and we don't buy much. So today I want to explore that topic and also give you a taste of the upcoming webinar that I'm going to be doing about how direct mail ain't dead. Which brings me to my next slide, I think. Let's see. I think I got this set up on the slideshow, which is often fun. Yeah, direct mail ain't dead. Next week, Thursday, Chicago time, 3 o'clock. And register at WDMA.org. WDMA.org. I think we got a pointer here. Yeah, and I can even do this. Shoop. Up. It's supposed to make red marks there, but I guess it isn't. Maybe it's making blue marks. Anyway, direct mail ain't dead. You can register over there. Register and share it with your friends. Okay, now, earlier in the week, I talked about how you need to speak CFO. In difficult times, the CFO sees marketing as purely a cost center and wants to cut the thing in half or better, right? They don't understand that there's a connection between promotion and sales and profit. And as I explained in that talk, which you can find on YouTube channel or Periscope or LinkedIn, I explained that while increasing sales will give you some benefit, increasing marketing can give you a multiplier effect, can increase the valuation of your company. And that's what CEOs value. They value ROI and valuation. And we're going to have some explicit examples of that in the webinar coming up next week. I've watched 70s, 80s, 90s, 10s, and now 20s. I've watched companies adopt two strategies. I've basically been in the catalog industry, and so I see a lot of catalogs who just say, well, we'll keep mailing the way we have always mailed. The main structure for customer segmentation is RFM, recency, frequency, monetary, and we can talk about that. And I've got a whole YouTube playlist up there on the channel that'll explain RFM in detail, and I think better than almost anywhere else that you'll find. We also have a website called E-RFM. There's Don Leiby's entire book is out there with his permission. So you can get a good start on RFM, e-rfm.com. Or a lot of mailers have gone, a lot of catalogers have gone the all-in digital route. And when we were working with Musician's Friend after the Great Recession, they were owned by Guitar Center, who didn't really like the idea of having a catalog competing with a retail store. So they didn't really like the catalog. And Guitar Center was owned by a company or a venture group in Dubai, I think. And so I actually got to meet with those fellows, and it was really enlightening when they would ask, well, why the heck do we spend so much money, millions of dollars a year, mailing these catalogs when we could do the entire communication with digital? So we did test after test after test after test. I'll even get to share some of the results with you when we do our webinar on Tuesday, 3 o'clock Chicago time. Sign up at WDMA.org or look for me on LinkedIn. The links are going to be all over by then. And I'll share some of that information. I'm not going to share it now because I just don't have time. Well, the fact is, we all know that there's some challenges with digital. I'm not going to get into it too much, but P&G slashed its digital ad spend, and not only didn't bad things happen, their sales went up, which makes the CEO scratch his head and say, I always suspected that they didn't really know how to spend their money. We'll be talking about some case studies in digital, in retail, and in cataloging. So somebody get a little something for everyone. But we also know digital fraud is a huge problem. Twitter had an article, there was an article just today on Twitter, and they can't get rid of these lawsuits where the advertisers are suing Twitter because bots visit sites, supposedly look at ads, and raise the viewership of the ads, which inflates the ad price. Clever, eh? According to the World Federation of Advertisers, digital fraud is second only to drugs for organized crime revenues. Just get some more bots. Now, AI is seen as the remedy for this, but 87%, according to Gartner just last year, 87% of all AI projects fail to achieve any return on investment. Why do you suppose that is? Well, big data. You've all heard the term big data. That was a buzzword in marketing for many years. Big data, the more data, the more spurious correlations. So, this is a great example. There's actually a website called spuriouscorrelations.com. This is a correlation of deaths caused by X-ray contrast media correlated with bicyclists killed in collisions with 2- or 3-wheeled motor vehicles. And as you can see, it's an incredibly good correlation. Not quite perfect here. And so in the fine print it says it's an 88% correlation. That's incredible. What does it mean? Nothing. In fact, if you take pi out to, I don't know, I think it's out now to 19 gig of digits. 19 gig of digits. And just for fun, you create a random number generation of 19 gig of digits. You will find all kinds of incredible long strings of numbers that are identical in both data sets. What does it mean? Absolutely nothing. So the bigger the data, the more spurious correlations. So if you think more data is going to help you when you can't figure out the little bit you got, let's go on. The other problem, and this is the real heart of the matter, is that machine learning requires a labeled data set. You've all seen these. I got a couple of them today. Look for the traffic lights just a few minutes ago. And here's a picture of one. And the fact is, these to a human are traffic lights. These to a computer are not traffic lights because these have dots on them. No dots. See that? No dots. So the human finds them, the computer doesn't. Now, if you're coming up to an intersection and you're a self-driving car and you're tight behind this little truck, you can't even see these stoplights. So you plow right into it. That's just the way computers think. So why are they asking you this question? Everybody thinks it's to verify that you're human. No, it's not. It's to show the computer millions and millions of pictures that tell it what a human would see in that intersection. It's a labeled data set. It's labeled by humans. That's basically the foundation of machine learning. When IBM wanted to teach Watson how to play Jeopardy, they had 127,000 previous Jeopardy clues. So they could write an algorithm, see how it did, look at the questions it missed, try to figure out how they could improve the algorithm, run it again. The machine didn't remember. Ran it over and over and over until it got really good at it. It's not rocket science. It's in some ways it is rocket science, but the fact is, with the labeled data set, with a good labeled data set, you're in great shape. The problem is, in digital, we don't know whether you saw the ad or not. Might be a bot saw it. Might be, one of the fraud techniques is making the ad so small that a human can't see it. Dropping a cookie, then tracking it. So the attribution company will say, oh yeah, you saw our ad, now you happen to buy from our website. We'll take credit for you. And the ad wasn't even seeable. You never saw it. But even more fundamentally than that, think about all the websites you were on today. Can you remember any of the ads? Probably not. I got one piece of mail in my box today. It was from stamps.com. I think stamps.com overcharges for the privilege, monthly charge for using the stamps. So if you don't use a lot of stamps, just go to the post office. Plus, it's just around the corner. So I threw it in the trash. But before I threw it in the trash, I noticed that they sent some stickable stamp templates that I could print out, like 9 stamps. They sent a test sheet, a little brochure, a little response code, and a coupon that I'd get some stamps free. I remember the whole thing. So one problem, even if the ad is visible, you just don't remember. There isn't that much in your head. And so you can talk about customer journeys, but we've talked about how difficult that is. It's just very difficult. The level of engagement is so low that there's nothing to track. So you don't know really who saw it and who didn't. Whereas in mail, we know who got it. We know they had to look at it a little, at least to throw it in the trash. And we know who bought. And that gives us our label data set. It's baked in. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Your brain has 10 times more touch sensors than vision processing sensors. One of my friends who's pretty high up in Forrester said, I didn't know that. And he's a male guy. I mean, kind of male. I said, yep, you betcha. All this, here's this article. You can go and check your references yourself. I love QR codes. Just hold it up to the screen. Hurry up. I'm going to change the slide, but I'll cover this again. People read best on paper for 3 reasons. Well, we're not going to get into that. But we are going to have case studies, as I mentioned. We're going to talk about a furniture retailer who also had a little catalog that they said did terrible, so they hired us. And when we started there, the new VP of marketing from a packaged goods company said, our biggest problem is getting new customers, getting people to understand what we do. Why would we waste money sending a catalog to people who already understood our product? I said, that's an incredibly good question. That's thinking like a CEO or a CFO at least. I said, I don't know the answer. It might be a total waste of money. Let's find out. He said, you can find out? I said, yeah, we can. You see, direct mail and direct marketing has not been taught. I did a talk on why mail back about a year ago, 2 years ago now, and the room was packed with millennials. After the meeting, we spent an hour taking questions. They came up to me afterwards, said, can we go someplace and have a beer? We spent another 2 hours taking questions. And they said, we've got MBAs in marketing, and we never heard one lecture on mail and why it had any merit whatsoever. And those kids are now your VP of marketing, right? Or your CFO. And they're thinking, why would I ever waste $1 per contact when I can contact somebody for a fraction, for $20 per 1,000 or something like that, 0.2 cents. Why would I ever waste money on a catalog? It's a great question. We got to embrace those questions. We got to understand those questions. But best of all, we can test those questions. The art of testing is being lost. A year ago, I launched an offer called AI ROI 90 Days Guaranteed. And since then, we've had 3 in-the-mail case studies where we went head-to-head with a mature, decades-old, successful catalog company. And actually a couple of titles. And we had holiday, winter, and spring results. And this is the improvement. And you say, well, it's not these two. This is the improvement on gross margin per piece. And this is the net ROI, EBITDA, Ask your CFO what that means. EBITDA on the cost of the modeling. Total cost, database model, all in, testing, the whole bit. And look at that last one. And here is one from last fall, one from last right after Christmas, and one from right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Right up to date. The fact is, we've been making money with data for 25 years. And I'm not even going to talk to you about this. But I'm going to have more to say when I got more time. Because I have a tendency to go too long, as you can tell. So there's two paths of the future. Well, maybe there's this third. If you're a mailer, you can keep mailing what you're doing. Either mail them all. Talk to somebody today, just today. They said, yeah, people either mail everybody or they cut mail and go all in for digital. Well, there's another path. That's to mail smarter, to make mail the foundation for your AI. Get AI with ROI, and you get insights. And that's how we explode the growth. We'll be talking about that too for your CFO and your CEO. How do you explode growth? With some real hardcore case studies. How do we start? We have very clear goals. We're going to go for an ROI win. We know how to create a label data set. 90 days to build it. 20% win. If we don't beat what you're doing by 20% on a uniques test, we're done. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn probably more than you've ever learned on an AI project or even an IT project. But we'll walk away. I mean, you can keep us if you want. It's up to you. So join me next week, Tuesday, 3 o'clock Chicago time for AI 90 days guaranteed. It'll be the end of the day. You want that much to do anyway. You want to be entertained. This will be fun. So come and join me. Find me on LinkedIn, John Miglash. Find me on wdma.org. Write me. My number's all over the place. Call me if you want. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye.